Hello everyone, my name is Thijs, member of the European Parliament from the Netherlands, and I'm sorry I cannot be with you today in Toronto on the conference supporting the Global Day of Political Prisoners in Iran. But it's a privilege for me to address you there, and I am working together also with many of you who are at the conference, like Shir Makbobi and Parisa Pouyande. And I want to emphasize first off how important it is that we continue our work, that you continue your work in support of all the political prisoners, but also that we as politicians, as members of parliaments around the world, but especially in Europe, continue this political sponsorship. I have seen how effective it is. I have taken on the sponsorship of some political prisoners, and a couple of them already got released, or at least have felt seen, have felt sort of protected. We need to take on that responsibility. We need to continue this and to argue also for more colleagues to take on these political sponsorships. So that is a first important point. Second point regards the listing of the IRGC. As you know, as some of you know, I have been very active from January 23, tabling the first amendment asking in the European Parliament for listing of the IRGC. As you also know, we are depending on decisions of the member states. And now with a new term of the European Parliament, I will continue this joint endeavor. Fortunately, we have a large majority in the European Parliament that has supported these previous calls on the member states, and also will support in this coming mandate of the European Parliament the call to list the IRGC. I think it is imperative to do it. I think it's also good that now we see that in some member states there are indeed court cases that can help us to do more. But this will remain a priority for me and for a couple of colleagues from other member states who I know will remain active on the file. Thirdly, I have been very active also with the Iranian community in the diaspora community in the Netherlands and also in other EU member states. And I think that aside of standing up for the Iranian people in Iran, we also need to defend the citizens, the people who are members of our societies, who are part of our societies, because the long arm of Tehran also reaches them on our streets, in our cities, in our villages. I will continue to make a point of that in my member state, but also in Europe, because I think we need a minimum protection for everyone in the European Union when it comes to feeling safe, feeling protected against influence of other regimes, such as the IRGC regime, on our soil, on our European soil.
And lastly, I want to ask you to keep joining forces in isolating the regime, the IRGC regime of the Islamic Republic, because it's not just terrorizing its own people in Iran, it's not just the long arm reaching people in the European Union, it's also the destabilizing of the entire wider region, including assisting a regime like Putin's regime in its war of aggression against Ukraine. We need to do this together. Today it's about the political prisoners and your conference, but we need to address this jointly and involve as many people as possible around the world. I hope to see many of you either here in Brussels, in Europe or elsewhere. Keep up the good work and have a great conference. Bye-bye.